Hey guys, it's Quickie Baby, and I'm going to be bringing you some footage of the new Tier 10 German artillery, the GWE 100. Now this is basically the same as the old Tier 8 GWE 100. I'm playing it on the new map, Sacred Valley, and really I just wanted to show you guys the so-called nerfs to the artillery accuracy. Now on paper, the aim time is increased and the accuracy is reduced. But as you guys know, with the changes in where the shells go in within the markers, so to say, the distribution of the random nature of where the shell will land within your aim circle has been reduced. And so that means probably there is very little actual accuracy nerf to the artillery. And I wanted to show you some actual shots with the artillery to give you a real idea. So here we can see a lot of their tanks congregating on this new map. All these buildings only provide one shot protection. Here we go, we're fully zoomed. The aim time is definitely increased on all of the artillery though, which I think is a good change. Hello Mr. E50.
Critical hit.
It was a little bit painful. So our shell did 774 damage. Let's speed up the game a bit between our shells. Just want to give you guys a realistic idea of the accuracy. We can see that when we were fully aimed, one of the least accurate artillery in the game, the shell went flush and hit the target directly. Here we can see fighting in the southern part of this town. If you haven't already, I suggest you go and check out my map preview where I talk about this town area on this new 8.6 map. Hoping I can catch this 50B, but I see a full health T-57 heavy. I'm going to try and help out my friend here. I take a shot and land flush on him. Now I do a little bit of track damage to my ally there, but I did a lot more damage to the enemy and I practically allowed him to escape there. And he's out. The shell went exactly where I aimed it once again. I could be firing here, but I really want to aim the shot well. That was the first miss that we saw. I think it landed and hit the rock instead. I'm looking to counter battery, as you can see, but shell traces have been removed from artillery currently. I don't quite know what the reason is behind that. Maybe someone can write below in the comments and inform the viewers. I'm pretty sure they'll return shell traces to the game. So here we can see the 183 behind a little wall. I can see he's knocked the wall down. Let's get ready. Let's give him a bit of pain. Went exactly where we aimed it and did over 1,000 damage to that Tier 10 British tank destroyer. Okay, we're reloaded.
That was close.
That one went a little bit further than where I was aiming, but he just started to move as I fired, and the slow shell travel time in the air mean that really you have to hit practically stationary targets or just aim very well.
Time to roll out.
So now we're looking at the M53/M55, which is a very interesting tank. Firstly, look at the LOL plow on the back of this tank. Oh, hello, I have a plow on the back of my tank. And also, it has a turret that is very similar to the Tier 10 British tank destroyer, in the fact that it can turn 45 degrees to the right and 45 degrees to the left. This means that this tank will be very powerful for staying stealth in bushes and aiming at you while you're approaching it and taking you out. One thing I will highlight quickly is this is a tier 9 artillery, and we're getting matched up against Super Pershings. In the current 8.5 matchmaking, a Super Pershing cannot meet anything higher than a tier 6 artillery. Okay? A tier 6 artillery, the worst possible gun that you could meet would be an S51 gun. This tank, however, has a 203mm, and so you would be meeting in a Super Pershing and other tier 8 tanks with premium matchmaking. You would be meeting tier 6 artillery at worst. However, now you can meet tier 9 artillery in a Super Pershing. It's incredible. I'm not sure quite how the matchmaking for the artillery is going to work, but in my opinion, these tier 9 artillery are much more deadly than the old tier 6. So effectively, tanks are going to have a more brutal game. Here we can see, zooming in on the IS-3, and our large splash damage, possibly with the premium shell, was enough to take out the IS-3. So the first shell was not a direct hit. Let's move on. We can see that because we have the turret, it means that we lose a lot less accuracy while we're aiming. But the aim time is very long on this gun. Waiting for the clear shot. So, 700 damage to one of them and 239 to the other. Let's keep on going. Let's reload that scumbag shell. So again we can see the accuracy, very little loss because of the turret. We fire our shot. We hit the tank. Another 445. Now we see an opportunity to get this artillery. Thanks to the turret, we lose very little aim time. And the shell lands exactly where we aim it. Complete overkill there on that tier 7 artillery now. I had to look. The S51 has been changed to tier 7 artillery. Used to be tier 6. Fire. 1, 2. So, shell travel time, most of the map in 2 seconds. Shell went exactly where we aimed it, and there's a tortoise taken out. Let me just rewind that one. That was a fairly scumbaggish shot. Let's see it again. So, we can see this object is about to put intense pressure on our Super Pershing. I give him some lead. I'm trying to track his speed. Fire the shell. Shell goes to basically where I was going to aim it, hitting the object for over 1,100 of his health and taking him out. So let's see how fast this tier 9 American artillery can relocate. Yeah, it's fast. It's got a semi-turret. It's got a 203mm cannon that's capable of doing 1,850 damage if it's able to penetrate with its 102 splash. And check out this for tracing. He's been stealth for a few seconds. Headshot! I hit him flush. I hit him flush. I hit that artillery completely flush. And oh my days, I'm such a scumbag. I am such a scumbag. But yeah, does the artillery accuracy look nerfed to you? Not to me, guys. The only thing that I feel is that maybe the aim time is nerfed, but the matchmaking seems to be buffed. And the actual accuracy, when you discount the aim time, seems to be buffed as well. So let's take a quick look at the post-game stats. So here's our game in the M53/M55, the new tier 9 American semi-turreted tank destroyer, and we killed 7 tanks. with 7 hits. All kill steals. Kill stealing like a boss. We got 7 kills for our 3000 damage. We can see that we made direct hits half of the time, and we fired 1 at the end, which we kind of just waffed. We fired a couple of waff shots, really. So that's accuracy of this gun, and with the insane splash damage on this tank, you're able to basically cripple them. I would consider this to be fairly similar to the current tier 7. It's kind of like the current tier 7 artillery. It's kind of like, in my opinion, a 7/7.5 artillery. Now, why should this meet Super Pershings? This is going to meet Type 59s, Jagdtiger 88s, Super Pershings, all of those tanks that get premium matchmaking, KB5s. This thing's going to just chew them up. Are those people who have got preferential tier 8 premium matchmaking going to be happy that they're meeting tier 9 artillery? I don't think so. More to come.
Let's go.
So, here I am playing the GW Tiger P. This is the tier 7 German artillery. And this tank is pretty ridiculous. This is one of the ones that I picked out as keep an eye on this because I'm not sure what's going to happen to it. Alright, this tank has a 210mm cannon. Self-propelled gun that, oh my gosh, 2000 damage with 105mm of penetration. With premium rounds, this thing has got insane splash radius. And, oh yeah, I can meet Cromwells. You can meet Cromwells in this tank, guys. Balanced? Well, you be the judge whether you should be able to do that much damage and still meet Cromwells. So look at the absolutely horrific aim time. This is normal speed. I will speed up and slow down the video, but this is normal speed. So fair enough, the aim time on this tank is horrific, but once we get aimed, things die. So that tier 8 tank destroyer, which is a tier higher than this tank, just got eradicated for 70 or 80% of its health. Speed up the game. This tank does take a very long time to reload. I would consider it to be the T92 of tier 7. Giving a little bit of distance on the T34. Hit him flush. Shell landed exactly where we aimed it. And we did 1070 damage. Balanced. Takes lots of skills, bros, to play this. I have to admit I am using premium shells, but that's just because I wanted to be testing to see the damage that can be done. Lurve sitting very still. Look at the horrific aim time. But once the aim time reaches its full accuracy, I feel like the aiming circle really now is not very indicative of where the shell is actually going to go, and it's more or less going to go where you aim it. So here's our Lurve friend. Just waiting for him. I want him to stop because the shell travel time is pretty brutal. I don't really want to have to make a shell on him, and here we go. There's our Lurve friend. Oh, he moved.
That was close.
It lands near his tracks, and it does 687 damage because the splash radius and the caliber of this gun is so big. We didn't hit the target, and we still knocked him down for about 40% of his health for that tier 8 tank. So you can see that the aiming time on this tank means that you have to really think about where the next shot is going to be. So I guess there is a skill in that now. We fire. Shell lands pretty close to him, doing nearly 500 damage, and he's eradicated. And that was all she wrote for the enemy team. Let's take a quick look at the post-game stats. So here we can see the post-game stats for that GW Tiger P matchup that we just had. We were able to do 3000 damage in that game. And, now here's interesting, something that confused me. Look at this. 1024 damage upon spotting. Okay. Okay. I don't think I spotted anything that game, but let's continue. So on closer inspection, we found out about the assistance in destroying. So I hit the Lurve's track, I took it off, and I got experience because there was damage done to the larvae that I tracked. Wow, okay. Let's take a look at what kind of damage we did to that T-34 when we hit him. We knocked out his track, his turret, his observation device, we destroyed one of his tracks, and we injured his gunner with that one shell that we put into him, as well as doing over 1,000 damage. I just feel, wow, is this balanced? That this should be a tier 7 tank capable of meeting tier 6 tanks? Are you going to want to meet one of these in your KV-1S? Are you going to want to meet one in your VK? You're going to get one hit. Even if they splash near you, it's going to one hit you. Balanced? You be the judge. So it's evident from getting into a tier 10 game that the spread on the artillery is probably 1 tier below it and 3 tiers above it, if you understand. I'm thinking that's what the spread is. Maybe someone could give a link to some 8.6 matchmaking charts, but from my experience on the test server, I think artillery can now meet tanks that are 1 tier below it and 3 tiers above it. So here we can see there are a couple of marauding bat chats. I'm trying to predict where he's going to go. He's going to go up here. Oh no, you don't. Hit him flush and do 900 damage to a tier 10 tank. Lovely. Next, we're zooming in fully on this tier 10. I want to give him my shell. Have a donation, my friend. So, it splashes near him, doing 600 damage. If it had hit him flush, it might have killed him. However, we can see that shot that managed to track the FV215B was also worth 1,066 assistance damage. That's pretty powerful, guys. We did 500 damage to him, and we also did over 1,000 assist damage. That means there's going to be a lot more experience for artillery in the game. Okay guys, let me give you my quick rundown, my conclusive statement on what I think about artillery in 8.6. 1, their aim time is increased. I think that's a really good change. I think that they were getting too accurate too quickly, and I think that artillery should be there to take out tanks which are very stationary and camp in the same location, rather than making what I would call clutch shots on players that are on the move and trying to flank and actively take part in the game. Number 2, the tiers have been redistributed. Very interestingly, there are certain tanks, such as this GW Tiger P, that can now meet tier 6 tanks. However, they have a one-hit gun. This wouldn't be such a big deal, but it feels like artillery are just as accurate, if not more accurate, and that generally it goes to the center or just around it. And considering how big the splash damage is, it doesn't really matter in a GW Tiger P. Whether you hit the target directly or if you splash around them, you're still going to take them out. I think I found out that artillery can meet tanks that are 1 tier below them, 3 tiers higher than them. Whether it's fair that, for example, tanks with premium matchmaking, such as the Super Pershing, the Type 59, the KV-5, the Jagdtiger 88, can now meet new tier 9 artillery, which are probably the equivalent of 7.5 artillery in patch 8.5. Is that fair? No, it's a massive nerf for tanks. They're going to be meeting basically more badass artillery. That, fair enough, the aim time is higher, but generally they're going to have bigger guns to go with it. Artillery have now got higher experience and higher credit gains. It's easier to get higher experience and credit gains in artillery. And also, now that they've added in assistance damage for taking off tracks, which generally artillery do all the time, artillery are going to see a hell of a lot more experience and a hell of a lot more credits, and that means that probably a lot more people are going to want to play them, or at least play their higher tier artilleries over and over and over again. So I agree with the aim time nerfs. Accuracy, in my opinion, hasn't changed. If anything, it's actually probably slightly better. Normal tanks are now going to meet more badass artillery if the matchmaker stays as it is, and generally you're going to be meeting artillery if you get a bad matchup that can one-hit you. I feel like I've highlighted 2 of the tanks that I feel could be quite imbalanced. I think that tier 9 turreted American artillery could be a serious beast, and I also think that this Tiger P, having such a large howitzer on a tier 7 tank, which is effectively about 5.5 or 6 or even 5 in the tier rankings of the old artillery. Is that balanced? I don't think so. I don't think this tank should be able to meet tier 6 tanks like KV-1Ss and KV-2s. It's pretty harsh on them. So guys, tell me in the comments below if you think, have I made any mistakes? Have I made any assumptions? Do you agree with what I've said? Do you disagree? What do you think about artillery in 8.6? Do you think they've been buffed? Do you think they've been nerfed? Do you think that they've been balanced? What do you think? If this video has been helpful to you, please consider rating it. I'd really appreciate it. As always guys, thanks a lot for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.